Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Good afternoon, Jeffrey Combs. Welcome to Tuesday Facebook Live. Good to be here with you on a beautiful Tuesday. It's spring in California, so it's good to be here. Topic for today's Facebook Live is meaningful conversations. Breathe, release, and let go. I will let the Facebook Live populate, and then I will move into the inspirational portion of today's Facebook Live. And thank you very much if you are watching this on replay. I have a lot of replays from Facebook Live. Cheryl Lynn has joined me. Cheryl Lynn, always good to have you on my Facebook Lives. You bring a lot of great energy to my database, and I love your content, Cheryl Lynn. Cheryl Lynn, my wife is in Florianopolis on the island of Santa Catarina, and she will be here on today's Facebook Live. So those of you who have never been to Brazil, I have. My wife is in Santa Catarina, that is the state, and the city is Florianopolis. You can look that up, Cheryl Lynn, Florianopolis. Good to be here with you this afternoon. I have an exceptional Facebook Live for you called Meaningful Conversations, meaning that you become very skilled at purpose when you are in communication with self and others. Yes, it is a very beautiful island, and we are going to be buying a piece of property there in the near future. And that would be a goal for many of you, to be able to travel the world. If you are traveling, I highly recommend Cheryl Lynn. She is a destination travel professional, and she can assist you with all of your travel requirements. Bob Campbell, good to see you this afternoon. Bob, if you're ever flying, get a hold of my client and friend Cheryl Lynn. Bob, say hello to Cheryl. Cheryl, hello to Bob. Good afternoon, everyone. Jeffrey Combs, president and founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. And Bob, good to see you on an afternoon, my brother. Must mean that you're either in your truck, or you're parked, or you are off today. My wife has joined us. That is Jonna Combs from Santa Catarina, the city of Florianopolis. Santa Catarina is the state in Brazil. I looked it up myself. For those of you who want to know where that is below Rio de Janeiro. It's a state below Rio de Janeiro on the coast. So definitely good to see you this afternoon, Jonna. And Jonna is 4 hours ahead of me, so it is 5 o'clock in Brazil this afternoon. Good to be here with all of you. Topic for today's Facebook Live is meaningful conversations. The communication that you begin to create, the communication that you have with yourself and others becomes meaningful. It means it's purpose-driven. You're skilled at the art of connecting. You're skilled at communication. You're able to easily and effortlessly lead a conversation. Whether it's in sales, mating, or dating, most of society has challenges with the art of communication. What many people do is they talk too much, and they overtalk, and then there's the other sector of society that isn't comfortable with communicating or talking because of their own low self-esteem. So the overtalker is usually a personality who was traumatized as a child, put in a position that they had to validate, justify, and explain themselves. And then the other end of the spectrum is the person who is very shut down in communication and has low self-esteem and has challenges being able to articulate their feelings. So this is a large percent of the world operates in this situation. And then there's the people who are angry in their communication. This is a very underdeveloped book, and it is not a book that I ever really next leveled in my marketing endeavors. But I was considering just letting you know this book. I actually have a $997 course on this book. In many people's communication, they come from anger. And the anger family is a whole family of emotions. And so anger is based on violations, traumas, repressed feelings. And then in communications from anger, there's the hostility, the rage, the road rage. You may have grown up with a father or a mother who had road rage. Oftentimes it was a father. Or you grew up in a household where a lot of the communication was based on anger. And so anger is criticism. It can also, in anger, there's also the hate, rage, frustration, disappointment, resentment. How many of you had an angry parent? So if you had an angry parent, there's a high probability that parent was critical of you, and that critical energy that was put upon you oftentimes comes from narcissism, either narcissistic tendencies or full-blown narcissism. And if you are a byproduct of that, if you're an adult child of narcissist or an adult child of alcoholic addicts, it definitely will affect your self-esteem until you really begin the practice of letting go, the separation between the feelings and the events that shape them, so that you are no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. And in a husband and wife relationship, communication is so imperative so that the spouse or the significant other doesn't feel not heard, or the spouse doesn't feel controlled, or there's not the communication that fosters the love, and that there's the hostile conversation between the two, and then it can escalate. And that's why meaningful conversations, where in intimate relationships, you agree to hear each other out, not interrupt each other. In the same respect, though, you can't go on long drunkalogs in conversation with your significant other. And you have to be able to share the space in communication and conversation. Even though conversation and communication should be such a given, most of society is not skilled at the art of connecting or the art of communicating. This is why dating is so challenging for many people. This is why prospecting is such an arduous task for most of the people who enter into the selling world. And sales is the highest paid profession in the world, yet it is very, very it's overwhelming for most of the world. They're not skilled at it. And the reason being because of once again, the lingering trauma that we hold on to. So the communication required to be a skilled sales professional is seldom ever developed because of the emotional code of anxiety, fear, and doubt, driven by the emotions of anger, hate, resentment, guilt and shame, pride and apathy, overwhelmed feelings, and grief. And these are the emotions that most people hold on to. And this is also why people have challenges collecting their own money. So there are many contractors, vendors, professionals who bill their clients but don't collect the money because they're not skilled in the conversation. I once assisted one of my clients who owned a business in Texas, and he had a lot of outstanding money that was owed to him. And I assisted him on calling the top clients that owed him the most money. And he was very uncomfortable with the thought of it. And I broke it down for him in a coaching call. Well, these people owe you 6 figures. And he goes, yeah, but I don't want to bother them. And this is a very common situation that hinders people from collecting their money for services that they service clients on. And this is why many contractors, general contractors, will go bankrupt, or many businesses go bankrupt because they perform the service, but they're not skilled at collecting their own money. And then they're scrambling. And I've coached many people who've encountered this. And if this is you, please hear the content I'm covering today and become skilled at asking for what you deserve. And there's a specific skill in the way you ask. It's the delivery. And if you're not skilled at this delivery, I'll assist you in the art of asking. For those of you who are my coach, or I am your coach, or you presently coach with me, in your back office, there is a product called The Psychology of Asking. It is my best sales product that I've ever produced, and it covers collecting. It covers the art of asking for the commitment. Now, this man that I assisted, I went over his books with him, and I found 3 clients that owed him a total of 6 figures, and I taught him how to call all 3 of them and how to collect his money so that he could make his payroll. Now, this was 6 figures this man was owed over 90 days. And this unfortunately happens to many good people, and he was very uncomfortable. He also didn't have the right person collecting, which is another Whole nother situation about communication. He had a codependent, nice woman sending out the billing. And so once again, this is if you can't collect your own money, then you have challenges in your own business. You'll have a non-profit disorganization from the discomfort of your desk. But if you have a business for profit, then you will collect your money. I am a very, very skilled collector. I have no receivables out there. I am skilled at being able to ask for the commitment and then provide the service and the value. So depending on your business model, it's so important in your communication that you're asking for the outcome that you seek to create. And so that's the art of negotiation. And the art of negotiation is not you get someone down to a rock bottom price. My father was very proud of that. And it was actually humiliating to watch. It was actually embarrassing to watch the way he went about it. And then from his pride, he would gloat about it. Oh my God, I was able to do this. And that was not the model I chose to live. In the laws of reciprocity, I'm a very good tipper, meaning putting money into the universe for the service people who perform tasks and duties. And so I will oftentimes ask them their name. So in my world of dining, I dine out with my wife at least twice a week. I am a serious diner. I've been dining since I was in my 20s. I grew up in 5-star restaurants and have the art of dining is an art to me. What's interesting though is many of the waiters and waitresses that wait on me never ask me what I do, which is, it is amazing. And there's very little conversation. In communication, they are called order takers. Hi, I'm here to take your order. Now, the waiters and waitresses that wait on me, I know all their names because I ask for them. And now I've been doing this for years, not just in Stockton, California, but I have traveled the world and I know waiters and waitresses and hostesses and owners. Da Benito in Union, New Jersey is owned by an Albanian man and his son's the maitre d'. And Doc is my favorite waiter and Doc is Albanian and Doc waited on me for 5 years. Jim Bomarito owns Tony's in St. Louis, California. Charlie Gito's is owned by Charlie Gito, a man I knew. I used to wait tables with him in a restaurant in Kansas City. And I grew up waiting tables and I would introduce myself. My name is Jeff and I'll be in charge of your culinary experience. Now in that specific establishment, we had a business card. This was 1980, and you dropped the business card on the table and you tapped it. My name is Jeff. I'll be in charge of your culinary experience. The sweetest sound to a person's ear is the sound of their own name. So whenever I type a message to all of you, I always send your first name first. Susan, good to connect with you. I always lead with that, always. So those of you who know me know that I do that. That is part of my signature. Then I deliver the message. And that message is relatively short. It is called a paragraph. Most people communicate in drunkalogs. They go on and on and on. Meaningful conversation. So if you are sitting next to someone on an airplane, the conversation there would be small talk, fact-finding, rapport building, standard conversation, provided you want to have it. I have met fascinating people on airplanes in first class. I've flown first class for over 25 years, and so I have met fascinating people, but I meet fascinating people everywhere because I'm fascinating. And so if I believe that, I'm going to attract to my reality people and situations that will believe what I believe. And since I have been clean and sober and started the recovery process and started to level up my self-esteem and be comfortable with who I am, who I've attracted, and my communication style has improved. I do have one huge advantage. I am a speech television major in mass communication. I learned how to enunciate. I learned the glottals, diphthongs, triptongs, learned how to enunciate words. I learned how to voice cast in situations like this. And then in communication, I teach all of you that are my clients to eliminate the doubt words. The doubt words that we have in communication are kinda, guess, and I don't know. Americans, Canadians, Australians, in the English language, most of society inserts the word kinda in a sentence or the word guess in a sentence, and kinda isn't even a word. It's Kinda. It's a derivative of two words, kind of, meaning nothing. I'm kinda hungry. Well, are you hungry or are you not? I mean, kinda is not even a word. I guess Americans use guess in a sentence, which means I doubt. So when your communication comes from doubt, you're transmuting your energy from 180 seconds, hertz per second. In consciousness, that's a very low vibration. So doubt resonates out. The resonance of doubt is around 150 cycles a second or 150 hertz per second, a very low vibration. Courage is the breakthrough factor when you're speaking from courage. Now, you're not communicating from courage, but occasionally it requires courage to have a communication because of the story you have in your left brain. And when you have anxiety about the outcome before you speak, there's a high probability your sentence structure will be broken. You'll stop and start. And this is why many people use the sound How many times have you spoken to someone and the first sound out of their mouth is which means they have to they have to go up here in their left brain. Their eye iris goes up and out. If they're right-handed, their left eye iris goes up and out. And these are NLP, neuro-linguistic programming skills that I taught myself almost 30 years ago when I first started to understand the art of selling. Selling is a skill, communication is a skill, connecting is a skill. They're all interrelated. And as you become a skilled communicator, it will allow you to also become a skilled connector. I am a 6-degree person. I have multiple connections from multiple walks of life. When my wife and I rehabbed a home over 2.5 years ago, when I took on that home, we bought a home that was a rehab project. It had been a short sale foreclosure, and the house had been gutted. Now that means it had to have a full rehab. When I say full rehab, I mean full rehab. We did a $425,000 rehab in 9 months, and I had all the connections already established over a 25-year real estate investing career on multiple properties that I've rehabbed, including commercial properties. So I knew the general contractors, I knew the plaster and lath contractor, I knew the stucco contractor, I knew a GC, I knew a handyman, I knew a tile man, and most importantly, I knew a concrete man. The concrete man was 6 figures, and then there were 2 other contractors. One was $166,000, another $100,000. It was a $425,000 rehab through multiple contractors, and my communication skills in managing that project with my wife was masterful and a miracle, considering the time frame. This was in the middle of the pandemic. The contractors were on very short supply, and you also have to have a roofing contractor. So these are skills so this means you're going to communicate with all of this going on right now. Right now today, my assistant and I are doing an electrical project. We have an electrical contractor coming over. We have another contractor to repair another situation that requires attention. And so we have multiple phone calls moving, and in between my phone calls, my assistant and I communicate in 1, 3, and 5 minute increments. We also message each other, and by the end of the day, the tasks are completed. My wife and I have exceptional communication skills in how we operate our businesses, our household, our system, our routine. So there's a very smooth, relaxed operation between husband and wife and how we keep the moving parts moving. These are skill sets that break down to self-esteem, communication, the art of connecting. And in connecting, you want to do your best to be humble, not lose your composure, not feel you have to be right, not have to overstep your boundaries, not lose your composure and sabotage relationships because of your pride. When you communicate from pride, you are definitely going to have challenges. When you communicate from humility, you will be able to neutralize people who come from pride. Pride are people who are too proud to let go. They're too proud, especially in the contracting world, they're too proud to admit they made a mistake. Or if you come from too proud to make a mistake, you'll sabotage relationships because of your lack of communication skills, which is also a lack of self-esteem. Your communication skills will be a direct reflection of how you feel about yourself. And if you're developing your self-esteem and improving on your communication, then you'll be able to develop your connections. So if you want to dine in a restaurant in the United States, I know all of them. I am the 6 degree of separation guy. That means through 6 degrees of separation, I know everyone. I can connect with practically anyone in the world through Google, my own intuition, my own in innovation, creativity, and none of this was taught by me. It was on loan from God, and then I began to develop it over the course of my life. And since I believe I'm a connector, I am very good at connecting. And since if you would believe that about yourself, and then you begin to enhance your communication, the way you ask the questions. Asking the questions is the key skill to being able to be a connector. And to be able to be a connector, you have to let go of your anxiety about making mistakes, getting in trouble, saying the wrong thing, being rejected, being abandoned, and offending someone, and all the other situations and stories that you hold on to. If you are seeking to improve your ability to connect on command, and you have not accessed a free 20-minute coaching call, feel free to reach out to me, and I will assist you to improve whatever skill or whatever you're asking me to assist you to let go of. If you're a former client and like to speak to me about re-engaging my coaching services, feel free to reach out to me. I would be honored to connect with you. My name is Jeffery Combs, president and founder of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. And for those of you who've never purchased this book, this is a gem. It is called The Anger Factor. It is the most underdeveloped marketed book that I have ever written. Of the 5 books I've written and then the 8 books that I've contributed to total, that book never really got its due acclaim, and I am determined to begin to share that content with the world. That is called The Anger Factor. You can find it on my website. Everyone say hello to my wife, who is in Florianópolis, Brazil today, in the state of Santa Catarina, and we will be buying property on that island, I believe. My wife is down there researching a piece of property. What a dream that would be wouldn't that be a dream for many of you to buy a home or a condo in a foreign country on the ocean? I mean, that would be an absolute dream. Or to buy a second home in the dream or the place of your choice on your terms and your time frame. That is called the good life. Oh, so I see some awesome people out there today. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. Breathe, release, and let go.